Okay. So just wanted to be able to take you guys through a nice little vendor briefing. We promised to just kind of like pop along these slides. We won't belabor anything, but if you do find that you have any questions, firstly, this is being recorded. So we will send out either a recording or an overview to you so you have some of the slides or either all the slides, whatever is relevant to you, so you can have that. And so those vendors who might not have been able to make it here today can have the recording. But this is just to go over the event in its entirety, or at least the pieces that are relevant to you. So that you can be informed ahead of the time of being on campus for July 24th. All right. So meet your team. We're your production team. It's myself, Cara Page, and Deshay Peacock, who you have on here as well. Give a wave, Deshay.
Hello.
And we're both part of Cover Page Creative. So Cover Page Creative is my baby, and I've had it for about 10 years and have been privileged to do events worldwide. I actually just got done doing a really cool event, which was a 50th celebration for Apple at Apple Park in Cupertino with Sir Paul McCartney. I was part of the team members for that, which is really cool. So I've been used to doing a lot of really large scale events. So it's nice to be able to do an event like quite literally in my backyard. I think I can drive to Shelter Systems in less than 5 minutes and be there. So I'm loving doing like local events here lately, which has been really fantastic. And I'm going to let Deshay talk a little bit about who she is and her expertise. She is our event producer for this particular event.
Hello. Yeah, so Deshay, and I met Cara maybe 10 years ago when we were both at a blogging conference getting started with our businesses. So I'm a small business coach, and I also lead retreats for women to Mexico, and then help Cara with events as needed. So we've done some really cool projects over the years, and we're friends, so it makes work a lot of fun. And she's so great. She's so great.
She is.
So also, I mean, I know we've worked with both of you guys before and some other vendors who might be joining later, worked with you guys a number of times. So also just I love the team that I work with. I handpick all of you guys because there's just such a level of trust. So I just want to thank you for helping be the best part of this event for Shelter Systems and hope we continue to partner together in the future.
Awesome.
Let's keep bebopping. So this event overview, of course, we know it's the 50th anniversary celebration for Shelter Systems, which is a local company. And they are located on Meadow Branch Road, so kind of near the airport area. And their tagline for this particular event is 50 years strong. And they've even had a logo particularly made for this event, which you'll see in some of the rest of the slides. And of course, the event is July the 24th from 1 to 5 is the time that they're welcoming guests. And then we gave some expected counts ahead of time. Now that are 2 weeks out or about 2 weeks out from the event, the true expected attendee count is around 350. So that'll be information that's important to know for our vendors. This audience we're considering guests of this event this is a celebration for employees and they're inviting spouses. This is not necessarily a kid-friendly event, although there will be a few kids there from the founders and their grandkids. We're welcoming vendors, obviously, community members, other clients that we're celebrating B2B, and some local politicians. The event, rain or shine. So this is happening. So again, for Shelter Systems, this event is really a celebration of their legacy here in the community. And it is a celebration of the company, but really it's all about and highlights the employees, and the employees make the company what it is today. And so our goal is just really to make this a fun, authentically memorable event where employees feel valued. This is not about sponsorship or anything like that. We just want to make sure that the employees and the community who support the company feel incredibly valued and proud to be there. And this is just a fun celebration for them. We started this event kind of like with this kind of like music festival-y vibe, Coachella, Lollapalooza theme type of thing. It is somewhat morphed into something different, but we're at the roots, like just like a fun festival with cool tents and activations and vendors and games and stuff like that. And so just want you guys to have context for where you'll be and how we'll be celebrating. So again, Shelter Systems, basically what they do, it's now a third generation company here in the Westminster, Maryland area. But they do lean scale manufacturing is how their company is run. But they build floor and roof trusses. So basically the framework and the structural components for all houses. So that in a nutshell is what they do. And then just wanted to familiarize you with some of like the logos that you might see again around the campus footprint and throughout the space, and kind of like their color palette so that you guys can have great context for those. I know like some of our vendors are going to be using their blue in different aspects of their activation. So just wanted you guys to have this context. And then this is their 50 years strong logo. If you can see it, there's like a kind of truss sort of framing within that logo. So you'll see again those truss elements throughout the space and the landscape. So I want to share with you all some site maps of the actual space. So let's dive into that. So you all saw this on the original vendor email that you were provided, which is an aerial Google Maps view of the space. So what you're going to notice here is that in the orange, what we have is basically our footprint for the event. It's on a paved parking lot area. And so this is where from day to day at their warehouse, which is this big old white building here, they are in and out of the warehouse via this paved area, and you can literally see the trusses here, and they have trucks traversing in and out of this area. So this will be cleared by the time we are ready to do our event, and we have jurisdiction of this space in orange. There will actually be trusses and set up here. And we will not have access to this space, nor of course will we have access to the warehouse or the main building, building, which is here with the blue roof. But this will be our footprint here, and I'll show you in a couple subsequent slides kind of how we have the layout planned. So just so you know, as you are probably entering the space, you're probably going to be coming from Meadow Branch, and there's a nice little loop around here. And then you're going to be entering into this first section. You'll make a left turn and you'll enter in through this kind of like security gate area, which we see denoted with the red star. And if you're a food truck vendor, we have you kind of spaced either along this orange line, and it's going to create a barrier between the actual festival and then the warehouse. So you'll be either here if you're a food truck vendor, or you'll be either here around the perimeter. Again, I'll show you that in the next slide a little bit closer, but what I want to make note of here is that for our vendors, we have reserved parking in this space right here. And so you'll come in essentially day of whatever your kind of drop off time is or unload setup time is. And you're welcome to just come into this space with your vehicle. You'll be checked in because there is a gate, but you'll be checked in. And you'll come into this space with your vehicle, do your drop off according to the floor plan that we provide to you and your space. And then you can come out here and park your vehicle in the yellow space if you are staying and remain parked there until the conclusion of the event at 5 p.m. We'll unload a little later and I'll talk through that. But that's kind of like the basic footprint there. Now, I don't think we will have more than 20 vehicles, or we will have about 20 vehicles for all of the vendors who are staying at the event. If for some reason we have more, there is overflow parking in this green area. And so you would just still do your unload here in the orange area, traverse back out, and then you could park here. Okay. So this is a really bad example of how the layout is, but so I'm going to go past this a couple slides and then show you kind of the official layout. But this is where this red square area is going to be our super large 80 by 140 tent. That's courtesy of Elite Tents and Events. And so this kind of little yellow, these yellow rectangles are going to be, again, where I talked about our food trucks being that barrier around the perimeter of the event. I just want to show you guys a few pictures of like the landscape so you can see, again, some context. So this is kind of if you're in one of the corners of the paved area looking onto what is the warehouse here and then the office here. Again, as I talked about, you'll see that gated area right here where you will enter into with your vehicle and or your materials. And then this is that parking area with the 20 spaces that you'll see. So I have a couple of angles of that. Again, the gated area, and then we've got, you know, the paved area and the grassy knoll area there. A close-up of the gate so you can see those parking areas a bit better. This is, you know, the main campus entrance. I will also note that while this is our main campus entrance for vendors, this will also be the main campus entrance for our audience members, our guests, for everyone. So we just have one way to enter and exit throughout the event space. This is an overview from the third floor of their building of the space. So now we are looking over top of their offices area. And so, for example, right here is where the tent would be. And then right here where you see this truck coming in, this is where you would enter in through that gate. So just a couple different views so you can see that. I'm going to go and show you guys a more mapped out version of this. We'll skip over that floor plan really quickly. So again, this is that entry. This is now from the outside. This is from either, this road is either called Meadow Branch or Buckhorn, depending on kind of like where you are in the curve, but you'll enter in through here, parking spaces here, main building there. And then just another view of that. So when we take a look at the run-of program, we have some vendors arriving as early as 8 a.m. That'll be our tent vendor arriving as early as 8 a.m. They will actually be there a couple days before, but they've got some last minute stuff to do at 8 a.m. on the day of event. Wendy, I know you're arriving at around 9:30. So the tent vendor, they're going to come and the tent will already be set up on that Wednesday. On that Friday, what they're going to do is they're going to overlay the tablecloths for the tables. And I have requested that they be complete by 9 o'clock so that, Wendy, you can get in there by 9:30 and do the tablescape settings. So that will be all set for you. And then our food truck vendors, they will be arriving. Welcome to come earlier, and some of them have made those arrangements with us, but a lot of them are coming around 11 o'clock to be completely set up by noon. And so this is a hard deadline for all of our food truck vendors unless they've otherwise made arrangements with us on an individual basis. And we want to make sure that everyone is set up by noon because with a 1 p.m. event start, we know that guests will come as early as 12:30. And so we want to make sure that everyone is ready to go when the first guest arrives. So just a reminder, we had put this in one of the original emails we had sent out to you, but everyone who's a vendor needs to be self-contained. So there won't be power access to the building or water access to the building or Wi-Fi. So everything you have that you would normally bring for your everyday setup, you want to bring that with you to make sure that you are totally compliant within self and can run your own operation or activation there on site. We have luxury, I will mention porta potties, which is fantastic. The client really splurged on this to make sure that everyone has a pleasant experience at the porta potties. And so we will have porta potties there, and then ones that are ADA compliant as well. So those will be made available to our guests and vendors. So from 8 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., that's kind of like the first chunk of the run of program. And then again, we have noon, and noon matters because we want everyone to be set up by noon so that when the first guest arrives at 12:30, everyone is set and ready to go. One great thing that we planned for is that we have 2 grazing tents that are being that are provided or catered by R&D Eats, and they're right near their setup. And so they will have 2 grazing tents so that if guests come even earlier than the 12:30 hour, that won't affect our food truck vendors. And the food truck vendors can continue setting up their individual units while guests graze and drink at the tent stations. Okay, I'm going to take a pause really quickly, and I am going to kind of go back to our floor plan so that you guys can see how this all kind of plays out. So again, we had talked about that front gate area. And so that front gate area is here, and we'll roll out a big, beautiful blue carpet, and we'll have 2 welcome stands here and welcome tables. And what I just referenced were those grazing tents, and they will be 20 by 20 high peak tents that you'll see here in the green. And then we'll have R&D Eats, who again is catering those particular grazing tents, who are right near there. And then we have assigned space for the cow, and then Jimmy Seafood, who's one of our other vendors. And we do have some other open spots available. So here we'll see that large tent space that we have, that 140 by 80 tent. And we'll have staging underneath there, and it'll be formal seating, 5-foot rounds. And so that's where our guests will do kind of their formal program that we'll talk about in a second. And then they'll just be seating throughout. We've got some high top tables and some 6-foot tables with seating. 1623 is providing us with drinks, and Deshay will talk about the vendors who are participating. But 1623 is providing us with beer and wine. Yay. And so they'll be stationed right here with two 10 by 10 tents. And then we also have a DJ who will also be making announcements and letting people know kind of the run of program. And so that'll be Billy Live, and he'll be stationed right here kind of as you walk in. So this is kind of the general layout of everything. Now, subject to change because we just might make a few tweaks or changes or what have you. But this is the general floor plan that you will see, or where folks will be stationed. One other thing I will make mention of, we are having ARS bring large games. And so we had those originally here, and we're still thinking of planning them here, but provided that it's a really fantastic day, which we're going to keep our fingers crossed for, we might have them in that grassy knoll area so that people can really space out and play the large checkers games and the beer pong and the Connect Four and all that stuff. So just wanted you guys to be able to lay eyes on this visual of the floor plan. One other thing I will note is that you'll see here in this right corner, this is where we're having our large 18-foot Luxe trailer with the bathrooms, as well as our ADA unit. So when in need, head to the corner. All right, cool. So let's bebop past here. Okay. So we were last at the mixing and mingling. So We are gonna, again, roll out a big, beautiful blue carpet because that's one of Shelter Systems colors. And so again, the importance of everyone being ready by 12 is so then that carpet can be laid. And then those welcome booths can be set so then our guests can arrive and be welcomed onto the beautiful blue carpet. Again, we'll have activities like jumbo lawn games, food, alcohol. Non-alcoholic beverages are also going to be placed throughout the campus footprint in large coolers. So we will have about 10 of those throughout the space. And then we're also having a live artist perform. So we have a muralist who's coming, and we have this huge 6 by 6 foot blank canvas of the logo, the Shelter Systems logo that he will be painting an interpretation of. So that'll be a really cool activation that guests can watch throughout the time there. Chris is here and he's doing a really fun 360 photo booth as well as a roaming photo booth. Our client has a t-shirt cannon, and they are super excited to shoot off t-shirts to everyone. We have this really cool museum timeline that'll be throughout the space, and it shares like different historical points in time for Shelter Systems, and guests will be able to kind of see this 50-year history of Shelter Systems, which I think is fantastic. And then importantly, what I want you guys to be aware of, because you guys are also eyes and ears on the ground, if you have anyone who's in your line or at your station or whatever, and they are overheated because, you know, we live in Maryland and we don't know what the weather will be next week. We do have an indoor cooling station available for emergencies only. One thing I will also mention is that in our huge tent that you saw where we were having the formal program, we've got jumbo fans, we've got ceiling fans, and so we're trying to just prepare for any sort of weather conditions. And so guests are welcome to go under there. You guys are welcome to go under there, or your staff if you are not in service times. And so again, being as though it's rain or shine for this event, we want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable, has a great time, but most importantly is safe for the event. So then we have a formal program. Most of the event is just mix and mingling fun, as we just talked about on the previous slide, but we do also have a formal program. It's only 45 minutes long, and it is from 3 o'clock to 3:45, and that is going to take place under that large tent that you saw with the huge 20 by 20 stage. And Shelter Systems will just have some programming announcements. They'll have their founders speak. They have a documentary video that they're going to show. We're going to be doing a cake cutting. And so there'll be like a little celebration under the tent from 3 to 3:45. What's important for you all to know as vendors is what we're going to do with especially our food trucks, but with all vendors, is we're going to pause services during this time from 3 to 3:45 so that we can make sure that everyone attending the event is under the tent and tuned into the programming at that time. So again, we're pausing services from 3 to 3:45. Great time for you guys to take a break as vendors, go to the bathroom, restock if you have any needs, and just like take a chill. Because after 3:45, we're letting them all loose from underneath the tent, and they're coming back out to mix and mingle and play games and take pictures and all the things. So then that will be from 3:45 after the formal program in to 4:45 for the food trucks. And so our goal here in that last hour is, you know, everyone grab an extra drink, grab an extra plate of food, whatever the case may be. But you all are welcome to start shutting down at 4:45. So the event concludes at 5 o'clock. So you can have, you know, those 15 minutes to kind of start winding down. And our goal is to have you guys out there as soon as possible. We, of course, have to clear out the crowd, which is why we're shutting down at the 4:45 time, and meal service can end at that time. I would just ask that you use your best judgment and be courteous. Again, this is celebrating the employees. And so if you have a longer line, you know, I would do your very best to accommodate those people until the line runs out. What we will also do is we will have this announced from the stage after the formal programming. And then we'll have the DJ who will be making announcements throughout the program, and he will let people know that the food trucks are shutting down around 4:45. Oh, yay. This is my favorite part when Deshay talks because I'm tired of talking. So Deshay's just going to run through our list of vendor partners who are going to be with us at the celebration. All right. Starting with Elite.
Yeah, so you guys have heard some of the vendors that will be representing us at the party, and we're super excited. We have a great crew of people. So the first one that we'll mention is Elite Tents. They're doing all the tents, obviously. They're doing the chairs and much more. So we have the points of contacts here. If you're watching this replay, just make sure we have everything correct. We've double checked, but that's why we're kind of showing you these slides. Okay, next.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we have ARS. They're doing our games in the AV. So we're gonna do, you can see the games that we're gonna do, and we're working with Chance and Kevin on that. So thanks, guys. We have, as Cara mentioned, we have Billy Live doing as the DJ, and then he has a group of volunteers. So those volunteers will be all in the same color shirt, like bright shirt. So if you see somebody that needs help or you need help, then you can grab one of those guys. And then we have Raptor Productions. So we've got the 360 photo booth and the rower, and then we've got Chris here. Thanks for showing up live.
Hey, Chris.
Hey.
And then as Cara mentioned, we have Luther Wright, who's doing the live mural. We're super excited about this. And yeah, you'll see him painting away. Wendy's here. We've got all the tablescapes. This is a little preview of what's going to be on the table. We're super excited about that.
Yeah, and she's doing bigger florals too on the stage, which I'm just excited about it. Yeah.
There will also be security, just as a preventative measure. So they'll be in plain clothes. I think they're probably wearing like blue polos. I think there's like just a couple of them, but just know that everybody will be safe with these guys around. And then, as Cara mentioned, our Lux trailer, we're really happy about this. It's a nice place. And then they're also providing an ADU unit for anyone who may need it, as well as 10 trash receptacles and hand washing stations all around.
All right. Food trucks.
Yeah, food trucks. Yay, food. We love food. Have you guys heard of Jimmy's Seafood? They're very popular, and we're super excited to have them. So you'll see them there.
Yeah.
There's a list of what they're having. Braglio Farms, also local, is going to have some burgers and pizzas. R&D Eats, they're going to be doing the grazing table. So you can see we'll have some hummus and fruit and wings and all the good stuff. And then they're also going to have a food truck with kind of a variety of kind of just unique different things for people to try. And then for dessert, we have two vendors. So one of them is Bon Appetit Bowls. That's Kevin. So save room because you're going to definitely want some of those desserts.
Yes.
And then we also have the Cow providing ice cream. So you can see they're going to do some twists and cones and sauces and custards. And then there'll also be some sugar-free and dairy-free options for those who need it. And then 1623, they're going to provide the beer and the wine, and they'll also have like a little extra water station. I'm not sure if we mentioned it or not, but there's going to be coolers all around with cold non-alcoholic beverages.
Yeah.
So if someone comes to your food truck and you don't have drinks, don't worry about it. You can just direct them to either 1623 for alcoholic drinks or to the coolers for non-alcoholic drinks. So I just said that.
Yep.
And then Starry Night Bakery is providing the cake. This is an example of what it looks like. This will be rolled out at 3:45 at the end of the program. So that will be kind of your cue that people will be back in service and may come visit your booth, your truck.
Okay.
Okay, back to you.
Yes. And sorry, this is the wrong time on here, but breakdown and load out is going to be at 5 o'clock, starting 5 o'clock, as we had mentioned. And again, we're gonna try to be reasonable with ushering all the guests out of the space. And so the event concludes at 5, but we estimate that it'll probably take people till around 5:30 to even just begin getting out of the space. And so the plan with the food trucks is, as we had mentioned, we don't want any of the food trucks moving while the guests are also trying to unload and load out from the event, just for safety precaution reasons. And so we will be working hand in hand with, as Deshay mentioned, Atticus, our security team, to make sure that the guests get out and onto the road. We also have a police presence there because we are going to use that road that you guys entered in on, Meadow Branch, as parking. So guests will be parking along that road. So I imagine, just in all honesty, just to level set expectations, that because it can be quite a challenging feat to get out of Meadow Branch Road and onto the main road, it will take some time. And so we're asking for your patience with load out, but we will try to get you guys loaded out right after the guests leave the main campus lot. Wendy, what's your question?
Really quick, I just wanted to make sure, like, we're leaving everything for everybody to take, right? So we're
Yes,
not.
you are.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
So,
just wanted to make sure. I was like looking at that thinking maybe we need to be coming back, but anyway, we're good.
no, what I imagined for you all was that you unload and you guys are probably going to get out of there like right after you unload in the morning. So this is
Correct.
probably
And
not
set it up. Yeah.
applicable to you. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. Okay,
No,
great.
no problem at all. So we'll have, again, we're working with security to make sure everyone gets out safely first. That's the most important thing, but also in a timely fashion, because we know specifically for our food truck vendors, and some of our other vendors who will be staying, that you guys have other obligations and engagement, and we just want to be fair to everyone's schedule. And then a couple of reminders that we have for you guys. Again, the event is happening. Rain or shine, we're going to be there in full regalia and having fun and celebrating the employees and celebrating Shelter Systems and this 50th anniversary milestone. Again, our volunteers, which is being supplied by Find Your Purpose, they are working with us, Cover Page Creative and the Shelter Systems crew. They will be in either neon or brightly colored shirts. They will be highly identifiable throughout the campus footprint and landscape. And so they are your first point of contact if you have any issues, and will immediately be able to get in contact with myself or Deshay to make sure any of those needs or issues are met. We also, again, have security that is being provided. We are assuming that they're going to be in blue polo shirts. And so we will probably send out an email to let you guys know and confirm that, so you guys will be aware of who they are or let you know day of. And for our food truck vendors, most of you all are providing tallies for us at the end of the event based on consumption, and we will send payment via checks out after the event. And also just reminding you that our updated confirmed food count is 350 persons. All right. We got through it in one fell swoop. I'm like, oh, yes, good stuff. So do we have any questions? I do want to be able to take questions, or if there was anything that is unclear, if it's unclear to you, it might be unclear to someone else. And so we want to like really just be able to provide clarity for everyone. So does anyone here on the call have any questions?
No.
Yay, that's great. Okay. Well, if
We're,
you
we're
do,
basically just we're gonna go in, unload, and then everything's gonna be good, correct?
yeah, you're gonna come in, unload at, what did we have you set for, 9:30 or 9? We had you set for 9.
9:30. Yeah,
Yeah.
9:30.
And so we'll have you unload at 9:30. So you can probably use that special parking lot, but you obviously won't procure the space the whole time.
Okay.
And then you guys can leave whenever you're done with your setup. And then yes, those florals are being taken away by the guest as a gift.
Correct. Correct.
You won't even have to worry about coming back and getting any stuff.
Great. All right, we're good then.
Yeah. Did I leave anything out, Deshay, or is there any other reminders, besides our contact information that we want to make sure people have?
No, I think that we covered it all. Very thorough.
Okay, great. So we'll wrap up this presentation, and if you guys do have any questions, you have my information and Deshay's information, and just give us a call, a text, a ring, throw up a skylight, whatever. We are here to assist. And thank you guys for being one of the best parts of this event. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good
Bye.
one, everybody.
Yeah.
All right,
Bye.
bye.